local merchant at the beginning of the 19th century. Now the administration of the museum, or the administration of the town, works here. Two churches. Please keep your tickets till the end of our tour. And it is possible to take pictures inside of two monuments, but you have to pay 50 Russian rubles to pay once for two churches. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a very nice place to take pictures. You can see the cathedral and the bell tower at the same time.
You gave her your money?
No, more money.
We are at the territory of the Kremlin, but only the name of Kremlin, the Kremlin, remained from the past time. It is the political, administrative and the cultural center of the town of Uglitch. But this small territory had been surrounded by the wooden walls from the 12th century, and by the beginning of the 17th century it was a strong fortified fortress. It had 10 towers. There were a lot of cannons on the walls of Uglitch fortress.
Didn't want to walk in front of you while you're shooting.
Thank you very much, sir.
Ugal. But I like this. Here the Volga River makes a sharp bend, forming a corner. A corner in Russian means Ugal. Now, dear guests, let's remember the history of Moscow, because it is closely connected with the history of Uglitch. The Russian Tsar Ivan the Terrible suddenly died in 1584. He had 7 wives and only 3 sons. Так там еще впереди меня. А вот впереди, вот. Голубые. And to the Russian throne. At the age of 1, Prince Dmitry, together with his mother Maria, was sent on exile to Uglitch, and the family had lived in that building for 7 years. It is a civic building, the palace of the princes of Uglitch. At the age of 8, Prince Dmitry was killed at this place, where you can see the church, which is called the Church of
a Russian Tsar. False Dmitry ruled Russia for 11 months. Only 11 months. It was enough for the Russian people to understand that he was false Tsar, that he was false Dmitry. And in 1606...
Well, we're in Yaroslav now. A new day. We're docked against this boat, waiting for our arrival on the... And here is a gypsy band greeting us. Looks like they're leaving. So the gypsy band is done. Oh, there's a big bridge in the distance.
Good morning.
Well, this is where we are.
To Yaroslav.
Yaroslav.
Will you please take your seats?
Got a little forecast.
So I'm Konstantin. I'm your guide for this 2.5 hours.
Band. This is where we get our daily thing here.
I hope you'll come again, maybe to our Millennium Jubilee of the town, which is in 2 years' time. So because today the town is 998 years old, so in 2 years' time, sometime in autumn 2010, we are going to celebrate our Millennium Jubilee, 1,000 years of the town. So you are all invited, of course.
1,000 years
and,
of the town. How about that?
Well, this is one of the oldest towns in the country, almost 1,000 years old now. It is the second most beautiful town on the cruise. What's the first?
St. Petersburg.
Now let's pretend your boat guide is old. involved in most cases, but not here, because there
Lenin
used to be a
is
huge
pointing the
cathedral
way
somewhere on the right,
to the
and then
past.
communists came and destroyed it and put the statue to Lenin instead, so don't look right. And the Red Army paraded around here, so we got this new name
This
from
is
Red
the
Army.
red square,
Before
they do the Red
it was
Army.
named domes. And we are coming to the former monastery, which is now the main city museum. That's our first stop. And this is where the oldest Russian book was discovered. And opposite the entrance to the monastery you will see a small white chapel. And this is the third landmark from the 1,000 ruble note. So you will see them.
Yaroslav is on the 1,000
Now let's
ruble
agree
note.
about the time. Now it's about Monastery of Transfiguration of Our Savior. Of course it's too long, even for Russians, so we usually shorten it down to just Savior Monastery or just Transfiguration Monastery. Of course, it was all originally made of wood. It was founded at the end of the 12th century, and then the monastery and the town were completely destroyed 3 times at least. Twice by the Tatar attacks in the early 13th century, and then by the Great Fire of this area in 1507. Oh, can I ask? Now it just happened that he came out, so we'll ask him to ring for us. Okay? So he's been trying to learn this forgotten skill for years now. And it's difficult because it was never put on paper, you know, it always went father to son. And in 74 years of communism it was mostly lost. In winter time he's trying to learn from very old people who still remember.
There's a bell ringer here.
Anywhere you want, take any
This,
pictures, it's free
model
here on the
of,
territory. If anyone needs a
houses, wooden
WC,
houses
you go
about
through
200
this
years
arch
old.
and turn left.
And they were originally
and they
used
charge
as
10 rubles for it.
beehives.
And you know where the kiosks are?
Beehives. Beehive buildings there. Here we are, one of the highlights of Yaroslav, Russia. We found an internet cafe. You want a cup of coffee, Phil? 20 rubles for 20 minutes, a ruble an hour. It's about 25 rubles to the dollar now, so 2 1/4 an hour, something like that. Very reasonable.
It's one of the 2 churches from this town protected by UNESCO. It is included in the World Heritage List. So the first one was the Church of St. John the Baptist. We saw it in the distance, and it is shown in the reverse side of the 1,000 ruble note. And we are going to see the Church of Prophet Elijah, which is the biggest in town, the most beautiful, and now the best preserved one. He ordered sharing the churches with believers at least. So now we have services here at least twice a week, Saturday and Sunday. And in the next 2 years' time, it's going to be restored, first time in history, and given back to believers altogether. So I hope you will come to our Jubilee 2 years' time. You will see it just as a working church. So this may be your last chance to see it as tourists. And in a moment we'll stop at the crossing, because this will be the best position to take a picture of this church. Be careful, it's still the road. And they never stop for you in Russia. Well, they do, but it's too late. To see what's stuck to the wheel. Where our bus is. So we're supposed to meet back on the bus at 20 minutes to 11. The cross is down to cupolas. They just hold the cross from falling in high winds. And well, you cannot see it from here, but when you come closer, maybe you can. Every horizontal bar of every cross and every diagonal bar of every cross has a row of needles. These needles are to scare the birds away, so they don't foul the cupolas and crosses. And even these needles are gilded. Alright, we'll go across the square now and stop there. I'll tell you.
I'm in the last minute of playing here. There's the Russian bear with some flags up top. Russia and the Russian bear. I have to ask him what that means. We're in the church square. Yeah.
Just not far from here there's a confluence of the two rivers, the Volga and its tributary. And he found it was a perfect place for a fortress, because he wanted to protect his town of residence, which is about 60 miles